morning has come. Arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Once more the gift is here. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
Good morning. Welcome to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church, Cedar Park, Texas. My name is Kaya Hartwood, and I'm the assistant minister here. We want to welcome everyone to our Sunday worship. If you are a visitor, thank you for coming, and we're really glad to see you. You can sign up for a newsletter at www.liveoakuu.org. And even though we are sheltering in place and we're wearing our masks, we get to hang out via Zoom and Facebook. Look forward to you participating in the service today. There will be places where you can be engaged via the chat. Our services are intentionally intergenerational. They're for all ages and everybody's welcome. Be sure to go to the website or go to the Live Oak What's Happening page, where you can find out and find a link to our fellowship time. We have questions and discussions, sort of virtual coffee hour. So get your chalice, and we're going to have our chalice lighting. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Carrie Krause, the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here at Live Oak UU Church. This morning's story is about American tradition, diversity, and the 4th of July. It's titled Apple Pie 4th of July by Janet S. Wong. 7 days a week, 52 weeks, 364 days a year, 365 in leap year, our store is open. Christmas is the only day we close. Even on Thanksgiving we are open. Even on New Year's Day. Even on the 4th of July. I hear the parade coming. Boom, boom, boom. And I smell apple pie in Laura's oven upstairs. Chow mein in our kitchen. Chow mein. Chinese food on the 4th of July? No one wants Chinese food on the 4th of July, I say. Fireworks are Chinese, says Father, and he hands me a pan of sweet and sour pork. I hear the parade, boom, boom, boom. I hear the parade passing by. Noon, and customers come for soda and potato chips. 1 o'clock, and they buy ice cream. 2 o'clock, the egg rolls are getting hard. 3 o'clock, ice and matches. 4 o'clock, and the noodles feel like shoelaces. No one wants Chinese food on the 4th of July, I say. Mother piles noodles on my plate. My parents do not understand all American things. They were not born here. Even though my father has lived here since he was 12, even though my mother loves apple pie, I cannot expect them to know Americans do not eat Chinese food on the 4th of July. So I straighten the milk and the videos and sample a few new candy bars until 5 o'clock, when 2 hungry customers walk inside for Chinese food to go. I tell them no one came, so we ate it up ourselves. But they smell food in the kitchen now, and Mother walks through the swinging door holding a tray of chicken chow mein, and Father follows her step for step with a brand new pan of sweet and sour pork. And 3 more people get in line. 11 more at 6 o'clock. 9 at 7. 12 by 8. More and more and more and more until it's time to close the store. Time to climb to our rooftop chairs way up high beyond the crowd, where we sit and watch the fireworks show and eat our apple pie. And that's our story for this morning.
I am one of many, one of thousands, an imperfect light. But I believe that we can come together, find our common answer, a fire in the night. If we let go of our fear and our greed, we can be the saviors that we need, hand in hand. mistakes of our fathers, trouble on the waters, falling down the years. Can we heal all the poison spaces, forgotten broken places in our mother's tears? Can we hold a better future in our minds? Can we learn the secrets to be kind, hand in hand? We choose love. Future in our minds. We can learn the secrets to be kind, hand in hand. We choose love. I am one light, one of many, one of thousands, to give and to receive. I will choose to fight for others, fight for our home here, see the shining sea. We can let go of our fear and our greed. We can be the saviors that we need, hand in hand. We choose love, hand in hand. We choose love.
What makes the American soul? Today I want to lift up someone that I consider one of the pivotal people to creating the good aspects of the American soul, and his name was Roger Williams. Roger was born a commoner in 1603. That's the same year that James I takes over for Elizabeth after she dies childless. And James I is a steward. His son Charles is the one who eventually gets his head chopped off. But they really believe in the divine right of kings, which is something that English had been fighting about since the Magna Carta, and the basis of our understanding of rights, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And even if it's not true, we believe it. It's part of our mythology. We're going to find that he's a combination of a modern idea of fairness that we respect, and a modern idea of a separation of church and state, and a modern idea of abolition. And he is actually the person that all that emanates from, and he does it a good 200 years before Theodore Parker or the Transcendentalists. He is one of our forebearers. Many people think of him as the founder of Rhode Island. So Roger is born in London. That he is really good at languages, and he's really bright, and he's taken up as a protege by the most famous judge and lawyer in England at that time, whose name was Sir Edward Coke. Sir Edward helps him go to Cambridge, where he eventually becomes an Anglican minister. And he gets influenced at Cambridge by the Puritans. If you're not a member of the Church of England, you're considered a dissenter. And the Pilgrims and the Puritans are two branches of the Calvinists that want to clean up the Church of England. So there's a conflict between Sir Edward Coke, who is an incredible lawyer, and many of his decisions are what we based our rule of law on, and the king. And occasionally Sir Edward, who had a backbone, would be on the wrong side of the king and end up in the Tower of London. So this is a person who has convictions and who is very liberal and connected to all the greatest minds in England at that time. And Roger Williams is his protege who has shorthand and languages. When Roger graduates from college, he's pretty much an Anglican minister, but he's been influenced by the Puritans. The difference between the Pilgrims and the Puritans is the Pilgrims want to separate altogether from the Church of England, and the Puritans, they want to stay in England, they want to stay involved, they just want to reform it in a very Calvinist way. During James's reign, dissenters are not supported, and you have to be a member of the Church of England. So the Pilgrims, the ones that are separatists and want their own churches, they don't have as much power. They're not usually university educated people. They're not really farmers either. They're city people. And they go to the Netherlands about 1609. They go to the Netherlands. They stay there about 20 years. And finally, they get kicked out of the Netherlands. They go to America. These people are the people on the Mayflower. There's only like 120 of them. They're trying to go settle near the Dutch in New York, but they get off course. They end up at Plymouth Rock. So Plymouth was a Wampanoag village that had been cleared out by smallpox. There are like 100,000 Native Americans in the Massachusetts, Connecticut, soon to be Rhode Island area. So the Wampanoags feel sorry for them. There's only a few of them, and they help them. The Pilgrims weren't really interested in saving souls. They were just interested in finding their own place to worship. That works out pretty well. They have Thanksgiving. You can hear that story another day. But the chief, the sachem is what they call him, of the Wampanoag was Massasoit. Maybe you've heard his name before. Back in England, but King James gets a new Archbishop of Canterbury named William Laud. And William Laud doesn't like dissenters of any kind, Puritan included. Now, the Puritans have more power. They have a lot more college-educated people, more people around the crown. They're trying to stay and work on problems from within. But once William Laud gets there, they start being persecuted, and they decide they're going to America. So this is about 10 years later in the 1630s. Meanwhile, back at Roger Williams, he's gotten married. He decides, he and his new wife, that they're going to go to Massachusetts Bay Colony. There are a lot more Puritans. You disagree with them, they're going to legally banish you or hang you or do something equally despicable. Roger Williams becomes much more sympathetic to the separatists, and he has a real problem with this idea that people are being forced to worship according to the government. There's no separation of church and state. So when he gets off the boat, the Puritans are very excited about seeing him since he's a Cambridge educated minister, and they offer him an interim ministry in Boston. He turns them down, and he says, I don't believe that you should charge people taxes or force people to go to church. The Puritans don't like it that he turned them down, and they follow him. Their long arm follows him to Plymouth, and he doesn't really get a job. He's a sort of unofficial assistant minister. He's preaching, and he's winning over people. And for money, he's working as a trader with the Narragansett Indians. And he learns their language. And he starts opening him up to Native American culture. Roger Williams gets quite facile at the language. And he's trading and he's making friends. He feels it's very unfair that the colonies are not paying the Native Americans for their land. And he speaks about this from the pulpit, and he writes tracts about it. And this annoys the courts and the government of Massachusetts Bay Colony enough that they censor him, and eventually he gets in enough trouble that they're going to kick him out. He has moved to Salem by this time. The Salem church was a little more friendly to separatists. And he's preaching there, and he's finding converts, and people like him. And he's an official assistant minister when the minister of Salem dies. And the people of Salem want to hire him. And the Massachusetts Bay Colony hears about this, and they go ballistic. And they threaten Salem. They refuse to seat Salem's representatives in the council until you get rid of Roger Williams. They tell him, don't preach and don't talk. And he and his wife, Mary, are having people at their house on Sundays, and he doesn't shut up. Now they're sending the sheriff after him. They're going to grab him, and they're going to put him on a boat back to England, where they will certainly kill him. He gets word of this, and he escapes in January when he was still ill, with just the clothes on his back in the middle of a blizzard. And he walks 55 miles in about 4 days with no food to the winter camp of Massasoit. He spends 3 months in their winter camp. He states his dream that he may have been carrying it ever since Sir Edward, of having a place where the right of liberty of conscience is encoded in the law. This is a great and wonderful idea, and it's supported because that's the case in Native American culture. You don't kill people for what they believe. So freedom of religion is a Native American concept that Roger Williams embraces. He buys land from the Narragansett Indians who live around Narragansett Bay, and Narragansett Bay becomes first the colony of Providence, and later Rhode Island. So Roger Williams and 12 of his people, they move onto this land. Massachusetts is mad about it. Plymouth is mad about it. Because he's friends with the Narragansett and they trust him, he serves as a mediator, and he tries to keep the peace. And he's able to keep the peace for 40 years, enough to establish the colony of Providence, to go back to England twice and use his old contacts. So he gets a charter. There are Jewish settlements. The first synagogues in America are in Providence, Rhode Island. The First Baptist Church is there, and Mary and Roger attend for a couple of months, but they don't join the church, even though the Baptists claim Roger Williams as one of their founders. 1661, Massasoit dies, and his son, who we call King Philip, or his Indian name was Metacom, becomes the chief. And finally, King Philip has had enough, and we have what's called King Philip's War. Philip's War is really bloody. 4,000 natives die, and about 660 settlers. So Native Americans burned Providence, Rhode Island at this point, and Roger Williams loses his house. He dies sometime about 5 years later. He died in 1683. The bad parts of the American soul are white supremacy, are in Massachusetts Bay Colony and the Pilgrims, and the roots of many of the good things that we revere about being Americans are represented by Roger Williams. Thank you. you for coming to our Sunday service. Our fellowship time will follow. The link is on the What's Happening page. We want to especially give a thank you to everyone who worked on this service, who presented, who read, who did videos, who did the tech work, who moderated the chat. It takes a lot of people to put this on, and we're really happy that you were here, and we're really happy for all your efforts. Live Oak is happening every day of the week, and if you want to know, you want to be a black belt ninja Live Oak person, you can go to the What's Happening page and look at all the fabulous things we have going on virtually. Stay safe out there. We want to celebrate when we have a victory, and the victory this week for me was that Mississippi took the stars and bars off their flag. So I want to sing you a benediction from Holly Near. I am open and I am willing to be hopeless. Would be so strange. It dishonored those who came before us. So lift me up to the light of change. Go in peace.